Deep in the ocean, an orca pod is on the hunt. But these aren't your average orcas. These guys are organized.
Marketing team, did you get those social media posts scheduled for the SEAL migration?
Aye, Captain. We even have an automated notification for all pod managers when they go live.
They use Monday.com to keep their teamwork sharp, their communication clear, and their goals in sight. Monday.com. For whatever you run, even orcas. Go to Monday.com to dive deeper.
Well, I don't see the point in waiting any longer. So let's bring her out. The star attraction, the one you came to see. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Miss Judy Gold.
You're in New York now.
Yeah,
you're doing
fun
this.
time. And New York in those days, and you remember this.
Oh,
New York
please.
was the island of misfit toys. It was everybody who ran away,
came here
from the
and
job.
could live.
We could live.
I lived on cold sesame noodle. Like you could be a starving artist in Manhattan.
Yeah, and I had
not anymore.
I was lucky because I had a regular job, so I could afford my my rent, $12.50. I think.
Wow,
mine
was $800.
So I could do that. But I just and it was funny. I was explaining to someone. I said because we had rehearsed when I was doing a Lisa Lampanelli show, and we were rehearsing in the East Village.
Right.
Really far over.
Right.
So I had time. I got there early, and I'm walking around, and I was like, "Where the hell was the World?" Because I used to go to a club called the World. It was like Second and C.
Right.
Okay. So
and
I
it
thought
was
to myself,
shit then.
Oh my God! I was like, how did we not die doing this?
And I remember going to see the Real Life Brady Bunch down there
sure, with Jane Lynch.
Lynch,
was in it, yes.
And then I remember
and Andy Richter.
Yep. Yeah. And Rent.
Yeah, that I didn't get on until it was Broadway.
Yeah. I mean, that place was so disgusting. I can't believe we walked there. All right. So,
you do it on like a Tuesday night at 2 a.m.
Right.
You get to work at 9 o'clock.
Right.
You still make it to work.
And we worked.
Yeah.
We worked. Okay.
But it was really it was all the kids who were the misfits were running the show. After midnight, it was ours.
We were it.
Yeah.
We were it.
Yeah,
I was just hanging out at every fucking comedy club trying to get on. So, okay. So how do you end up going from this, writer to getting on The Daily Show?
I was freelancing. I wrote for Spy Magazine.
Right.
For an editor there who, Guy Nicolusci, changed my life, I have to say. So anyway, I'm writing these columns, and we did a column called To New York. It appeared
TOO?
TOO, New York,
Right.
exclamation mark. Now, To New York, for people who don't know, can mean too Jewish.
Right.
Or too gay.
Right.
To New York.
Right. That's what people, when someone says, like, you audition for something or you're up for something and they say, no, she's too New York. It's usually, for me, it's too Jewish.
Yeah, and for me, it means too gay.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, but I don't even know if that's still the case. That used to be.
It's still the case.
That was the euphemism.
Yeah.
Was To New York. So anyway, so we did this column called To New York, and it was so bitchy and so funny and so queer. I did Martha Stewart's calendar for Sylvia Miles. Remember Sylvia Miles?
Yes.
And it was things like,
yes.
It was like, call agent, try 411. It was so mean. I would never write something this mean now. But it was really mean, and it was really funny. But it was back in the day when really evil things could be said.
Right.
And you felt no guilt.
Right.
Now you feel guilty.
Right.
But it was
because
so
it follows you. It follows you. It's not like, that was funny, bye, done. Nothing's ever done.
And we apologized. We made up many years later.
Right.
So anyway, but so I was doing this. So anyway, so he gets shit canned before his second issue hits the stands.
Oh God.
Yeah. I was like, great. It's the most fun I've ever had. And the next editor came in and said, why are you writing about Rex Reed? And I was like, I can't answer that question because it's sort of like, everything I think is funny, I now have to explain to you.
Right. No,
it's like there's no way for me to explain why we did cultural flashcards, and it was one of the features was top or bottom. That's what it was.
Oh, that's funny.
And the first time we did it was Siegfried and Roy.
Right.
And the second one was Joni and Chachi.
Right.
And so it was just a survey, top or bottom. I had 2 pages to play with, so
that's
I did
hilarious.
all this stuff. So anyway, but that was one of them. I had to explain that to him. I was like, you know what? I just got to go.
Right.
So that didn't. But anyway, so a few months later, this guy, Guy Nicolusci, calls me and said, I'm working on this. I'm a writer on this show now called The Daily Show. And it's like, why don't you come on and promote your book? And I was like, okay. So I sat on
Phyllis
the
book.
A Boy Named Phyllis, my
Phyllis.
first book. So it's 1996. Books just come out.
Right.
And I sit with Craig Kilborn, and I start talking about movies and stuff because they said, talk about movies when you're on. I was like, okay. And that led to me having the job as the movie reviewer.
But
And
did they tell you that day?
No, but they kind of were like, hey, why don't you come on and do that? And then we kind of brainstormed
So
the thing.
was it like, okay, why don't you come on like in a couple weeks and you'll talk about this?
It ended up,
you
they
never
paired me with Liz Winstead, who was
Right.
the co-creator of the
Right.
show. And so Liz and I became sort of Siskel and Ebert. And I was kind of the quieter of the two of us. Liz really ran the, it was her show.
Right,
you
right.
know. And so she was.
But you're more knowledgeable about movies,
Yeah,
don't
but it
you
wasn't
think?
real. We were
Right,
just
right, right, right,
cracking
right.
wise.
Okay.
But it was, oh, please. Anyway, so then when she left the show, they tried to pair me with other people and it never worked. And then I said, I really could do this by myself. And that's when it took off. And so it really, it became this own out at the movies thing of me. And
Right.
I said, this is the kind of jokes we got away with. We did Moulin Rouge.
Right. I loved Moulin Rouge.
Moulin Rouge. I do too. I can't wait for the music
Like-
on Broadway. So, but we said this entire movie set under a gay Christmas tree.
Right.
It was the opening of it. We're going on and on.
Right.
And I said about Nicole Kidman is so good in this movie. I said and we cut to Ewan McGregor and we said it's amazing what having a heterosexual partner can do for a girl.
Right.
Okay, so you've just done an awful gay Tom Cruise joke.
Right, right.
So we did that. And we also did my favorite joke that I ever did on The Daily Show. And it's so mean, and I love her, and I would
Right.
apologize if I ever met her. I said, we're showing her on, she's Satine or whatever that character, she's swinging over
Right.
the crowd. And we said, Nicole Kidman is a singing, dancing prostitute who wants to be taken seriously as an actress. I'm sorry, she plays a singing, dancing prostitute who wants to be taken seriously as an actress. So that was my favorite joke we
Right.
ever did. And it was but it was those kinds of jokes, and it was really funny.
Right,
and-
because it was gay. That was gay humor. That was that,
and
that
co-written
edgy.
with straight guys,
Right,
always.
right,
It was we did jokes like, we did the Planet of the Apes is one of my favorite ones we ever
Right.
did. The awful Marky Mark
Right.
version, but the whole thing, and it said, it's something about. That I looked at Roddy McDowell and I said, when I grow up, I want to be just like him, and the punchline was, I told my mother that, and I said, hairy and gay, ta-da! So that was and I was like, and I showed my really hairy forearms,
Right.
and so we did those kinds of jokes, and it was really dirty and gay,
And what
fun.
was it? 12 years? How long?
No,
were you-
I did it 6.5.
6.5.
Six and a half
12
on
years
the-
was your radio show.
12 years
Okay.
on the radio show, 6.5.
So you
on the
did
Daily
6.5. How did they and why did they let you go?
The show was becoming something different. It was
Right.
becoming this political
So
entity.
when
We were a
John-
spoof of. I was on for 3 years with John.
Right. So when John took it over from Craig,
He could have shown me the door, but
Right,
didn't.
right.
Which was really nice.
Right. And then you were there for 3 years.
Yeah, 3.5. I mean,
And how
it might
often
have been
were you
3.5.
on?
Every other week.
Right. And
So we were on. I think I did about 150 of them.
Wow.
I think something.
do you
like
get
that.
residuals for those?
No.
It's
It was
fucking
non-union.
cable.
Yeah,
Fucking bullshit.
non-union.
I know.
Yeah.
So, but it really kind of put you out there.
Oh yeah, it was a big.
And you were doing stand-up.
What a stupid place to start.
Right.
Start at the top because
Right.
there's only one way to go. So I was on the coolest show on TV,
Right.
right out of the gate. So it was fun.
And then
But I didn't take stand up seriously until
Right.
just a few years ago.
Now, how did they let you go?
I didn't go. I didn't do it very well. I kind of didn't want to leave. They had to sort of drag me out. Not really, but I know they just basically wanted me to just leave quietly, and I said, "Well, let's come up with something else for me to do." And,
Wait, they
and-
brought you in an office.
Yeah, and they told me that the show is going in different directions, and a movie critic is really not what we're doing anymore. And so I didn't.
And what'd you say?
I didn't take it well. I
Like,
said,
all right, I'm going to do. Let's do the scene. Let's do the scene.
Okay.
Frank, I wanted to talk to you. We love you here at the Daily Show, and as since John's taken over, it's gone in a different direction. We're more political, and unfortunately, we don't see a place for you here. We don't see a place for a movie critic anymore. It's really going to be all about politics. So we're letting you
Tell me
go.
it's not personal. Go ahead.
And it's not personal. As you know, we all adore you.
Well, if it's not personal, let's come up with something else for me to do. That's what I said.
And they were
There
like,
was nothing else for me to do.
there's nothing else for you to do. Can you get the fuck out of here? So did you clean your desk that day or?
I didn't have a desk. No, I was freelance, so I just
right.
would go
Did
in
you
there.
cry?
No, but I was sad.
Yeah.
Especially because it was
It was a good gig.
It was a fantastic gig. I was at the point of like, Frank Hyde, the driver, is named James, and he'll be there at 11:30.
Right.
It was that. I was loving it. But that, and no one tells you that kind of crap is fleeting. You just think it's always going to be
Right,
that.
I know.
No
That's
one
the
ever
thing.
warns
I
you.
tell every young comic and every person who's on a show right now, save your money. It's not going to last. Everything is cyclical. It's so.
No one has. Well, who we were talking before about my parents. I was like, who was going to prepare me for that?
Right.
There is no one in my life that was going to tell me. You do know
that this is good.
I thought people like Rosie O'Donnell didn't have any downs. You know
Right,
what I mean?
right.
It's just phew,
right,
and it's not. And yet, if you really look at it, was like when I was saying before about the always wanted a talk show, and then you're like, Schmuck, you did have a talk show,
right?
It's like. I thought
it wasn't the talk show I wanted,
right, but it was like I always wanted. I wanted that. I thought that book was going to change my life. The first book was going to change my life. And you know what? It did. I met my husband because of that book, so it did change my life.
But you always think I'm going to be a big star and I'm going to have a lot of money, and it's like I feel like I keep trying. Don't you keep? I mean, I just keep going because I love what I do. All right.
Well, yeah, I only think when people talk about at our age now, we were saying before, people start talking about retiring. It's like,
right.
You only want to retire
right.
if you do something you don't love. It's like what? It's
right.
Like, why would somebody is saying, well, Judy, you don't get to go on stage and face the adoration of people and make people laugh and then get a check when you're
right.
So like, why would you want to not do that?
Exactly.
It's like, roll
and
me
I'm
out
funny.
there.
I've never been funnier, but I can't get on a TV show because I'm too fucking old. Gordon. Okay, so you leave the Daily Show. How do you get? Then you get the SiriusXM.
I had about a year of fatootsin around, and then my agent,
at this point, were you depressed? Were you like, oh fuck, that was my?
I think that was a big. Well, okay.
Because that's what happens. People listen. Like you're rejected, and the greatest thing about this business is that your life could change tomorrow, and the worst thing about this business is that your life could change tomorrow.
So it's okay. It's 2003.
Yeah.
Daily Show gives me the heave-ho.
Right.
My mother dies.
Yeah. How soon after?
Within months. They're in months of each other.
Did you call her to tell her?
Then that's what killed her. No, then TV Guide, which was my big freelance gig, and they were paying a lot of money for me to sit in my underwear and write about ridiculousness.
Right.
They got a new editor who decided that everyone he didn't hire
has to go.
Untalented.
Right.
So I had zero income.
Right.
And
for the first time in your life.
For the first time in my life, and so there it was. And so,
had you saved your money?
No, I pissed it away like a gay supposed to. Like any gay man would. I pissed it away. But no, anyway, so and then I ended up getting this job, used my savings, and then and ended up getting a job at Sirius. And then so I did a gig at Sirius for 12 and a half years.
With Doria. Now, how'd you meet Doria Biddle?
They threw us, we were introduced on a Friday, and we were on the air on a Monday.
Were they going to give her a show?
No. She was a producer on a show. She was already working there. She was a producer.
But not in New York. She was in L.A.
In L.A. So they flew her in and made her miserable. So it was good. She hated New York. Still
wow,
does.
really?
Still does. Hates it.
You know that was my ex's first crush was with Doria Biddle. You know this whole story.
Yeah.
About Sharon being in love with Doria Biddle. Okay. So, and I remember meeting her and going, wait, I know your name. And it took me years to figure out. So you're doing the show.
So it was fun. So we got to meet
it was
all
great.
Fun people.
I loved it. I loved it.
But it was, I left, I was so naked. It was, I was so, there was nothing held back. When I left that office that day, the cupboard was bare. And then I had to fill it up overnight.
Did you, for 12 years?
Yes.
And it was 2 hours?
3.
3
hours, 5 days a week.
Right.
So 15 hours of bullshit.
And how many weeks off did you get a year?
2.
That's it? It was like a full-time.
Maybe 3.
Wow.
I think by the end it was 3.
But did you love it?
I loved when the red light was on.
Right. And the rest
like most comedians do.
Right,
when you're actually performing, it's fantastic. All the rest of it's
and all the Now, would you go into the office all day? Like,
I would go. Well, the first guy that we had insisted that we were there an hour and a half
before.
No, an hour and a half for every hour we were on the air before. So I was.
Who the fucking tells you that? Like.
So they wanted me there 4.5 hours. Now, if you were sitting in an office for 4.5 hours and then you have to perform for 3, that's ridiculous.
How about doing like an hour before and a couple hours after?
Or whatever works for you. How about that? Is it funny on the air? Yes, then let him do it the way he wants to do it. That's all that really matters.
And what would you do for those 4.5 hours besides jerk
we'd
off?
Get pizza and yell at each other and hate our lives. And, everything you're not supposed to do. We weren't coming up with any more funny. We were just winging it. And
did you make good money?
wasn't bad, but
Right.
it wasn't great.
Right,
You didn't
right.
get-
Because they don't pay that much.
No.
Because Howard gets it all.
It wasn't the worst,
Right.
But it wasn't. You know, it was not what people would think. Not by a long shot.
Now, how did they let you go? Because
They
that
got rid of the
whole
whole
channel.
No, they got rid of the whole channel. They came in on our 12th anniversary, and I love that you asked how they let you go questions. That's really funny. No, they flew the woman out from New York, and when I saw her face in the office, I was like, oh, this is.
Oh, wait, you had gone to L.A.?
I was doing the show in L.A. for a couple of years. Yeah.
Right. At the very end, yeah.
Which was really fun.
Yeah.
Except it was too early in the morning for
Right.
me. I had to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Right. Fucking bullshit.
So anyway, but the show was fun from there, and Dory and I would sit with each other and catch and stuff. But yeah, when we saw that woman show up from New York, we were just like, "Hi, we know what this is about." It's like you're here with I don't see the hatchet, but I know it's here.
Right.
And so yeah, she's and they told us on our actual 12th anniversary that the channel was going, and you're going with it, and there are quote unquote no further opportunities for you at this.
No fucking way.
Quote unquote. No further.
Now, did you
opportunities.
pull the Frank that you pulled at the Daily Show?
No, I just was. It was more the you're breaking up with me.
Right.
It was the boyfriend that you should have broken up with
Right,
10
right.
years earlier. I should have stayed there about 4 years.
Right.
And then
Gone
winged
and
it,
moved
you
on.
know,
Yeah.
Tried to move. No, 12. You
But
know.
it was it was easy and it was
Yes.
stable.
Yes.
And I remember you went on the Rosie Cruise. Like you could do,
Could do fun
shit.
things, yeah. You could do totally
and
different
you could record from anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
Occasionally, but so yeah, but it was they just people say did they appreciate you? I said the listeners did.
Right.
The listeners.
The other
loved
thing
it.
is, like, I had a show. I was doing a weekend show, and then they were like negotiating a show for me, and then they just never called back. I
love being ghosted. That's the best thing.
when they came back with another offer, we came back with another, and then never called, and then this is done. It's like, who the fuck does business like that?
I think everyone is what we're worried about now. I think everyone.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
Now you're back to writing. You're doing a lot of New York Times stuff.
Yeah, I did. I only. It's it seems like more, but I did 6 last year.
I know
But 6
that's
is
a lot.
Yeah, especially
how long
when
does it take you to write one of those articles?
the 3,000 worder was. It took me a few weeks.
Yeah,
because you first have to read a bunch of stuff. And
right.
I didn't used to work this way, but now I want it to be really. Well, it's the Times. You also want it to be really good.
Right.
So you read every freaking thing you can get your hand on. Then you call. Even if it's 600 words, you call 5 people.
Right.
You know what I mean? It used to be. Call 2 people, write a story, and it didn't even care. But it's like when you're doing for the New York Times. I did a story on ceramic Christmas trees.
Right.
You do not. It was 600 words.
Right.
It took as much work as the Bob Mackie story that was 3,000 words.
Yeah.
It's like you got to call people, you got to dig them up, you got to. What about this? What about that?
Right.
Who would be fun to talk to? And you do all that.
And you take notes and you read books and
you do all that stuff, and then you go see Cher twice. That kind of thing. But and this was sort of what we were saying before. So I write the story in the New York Times, and I said to them, look. I know that this may be, I don't even know if this is ethical. I said, but if there's any way I could come to opening night of the Cher show.
Right.
After the story comes out.
Right.
You really would, it would make my year. I said it would be huge for me. I said, I'm a huge fan of hers. So at the last minute, they called us a couple days before and they said, we have 2 tickets.
I saw it on Instagram.
Then the story came out. We were 7 seats away from Cher in her row.
No fucking way.
In Cher's
fucking
row.
Shit. Fuck. Shit. Fuck.
It was Floaty, her producer,
right,
and who's wonderful, and then Cher, and then 7 seats, and then me, and then Jim. And Jim. It's like I've seen this before. I'm going to watch her all the whole time. So Jim leaned over every joke and leaned over to see what she was.
Oh God, that's so annoying.
He's a pain in the ass, but I love him for doing it.
Right.
But anyway, that was pretty great. But I said to myself that night, I said, you know what? This weekend, the way it had all gone, I said makes up for so many years of feeling slights. And I said, you know what? If it lasts 3 days, it's fine. But this weekend, I'm on top.
But do you feel like you don't ask for shit? Like I feel like there's so many people that go in and ask for shit and they're entitled, and I never do that.
We need to learn that.
I'm like, I hope this one.
But the worse than not asking for stuff is letting the stupid voice in your head when someone says something.
Right.
Right now, you know what I'm struggling with? I had a 20-year-old whom I like tell me, you post too much on Instagram.
Fuck you!
I don't follow you anymore. You post too often. Okay? And
you know what I would have said? You're fucking 20 years old. Shut the fuck up, you fucking asshole. You post too much, and you know what? You're dumb. You're 20.
Yeah, that's what I should have said, but it hurt my feelings, and that's kind of
right.
stupid.
And
you're
it's
sort of like people like, oh yeah, you can take a joke. I don't know about you, but don't people think they can tease you because you make jokes?
Oh my God!
I don't want to be teased.
And I don't want to talk to you after my show about shut up. I remember when I found out that Barbra Streisand never would want to talk to the audience after her show, and I was like, I am so mad at Barbra, because Barbra Streisand's for a Jewish girl from New Jersey, God.
Jewish girl from any Jewish gay guy, a gay guy of any persuasion. Yeah.
And I remember thinking, oh my God, that's horrible. And now as a performer, it's like, no, I don't want to talk to you.
I do like that. I do. It's terrible.
You do?
If I write a book, it's so that I can go on the book tour. It's terrible. I really don't. It's like all I want to do is talk to people and go, hi, I'm glad you like my book.
There are some people I don't mind talking to, but then the majority of them are like, hey, what happened to me today? And I was using your act. Yeah. And I'm like, shut the fuck away from me. As a journalist.
Yes.
How do you feel about, I feel so awful for journalists, right?
It's terrible. It's a dangerous profession now.
Not
writing about Sharon necessarily. She could snap out of it, give you a slug if she doesn't like your story.
But what the fuck is going on? This is from other countries.
Yeah. Oh, it's insane. Yeah, it's just nuts. And I think you have to. I think the consumption of news is what's changed for me.
Right.
You're looking at it I am taking in as much information, and the window is closed. I cannot take any information in, and now we're done. But I do feel. It does feel better since the November elections for me. I'm less troubled, even though I see horrible things going on.
Right.
I don't feel like there is no checks and balances at all. There's not enough.
Right.
Till someone's wearing an orange jumpsuit to go with that stupid cotton candy hair. I'm not going to be happy. But it's at least somebody is being loud and saying, "Oh, this is bullshit."
I have to say, Nancy Pelosi. She's fucking amazing.
Oh, I like her, yeah.
That interview with Joy Reid where they were talking about the motherfucker. I tweeted about the woman saying motherfucker, and everyone's like, there's all these people like, she's anti-Israel and she hates Jews and you're defending her. I'm like, I'm not talking about her politics. She said motherfucker and you're making a big, huge fucking deal about it. She did nothing compared to what this fucking asshole, I can't, any other person would be fired from their job. They would be gone if they behaved like him.
Oh, sure.
He's such a fucking asshole. He fucking paid those porn stars. He cheats on his wife. And these they just
the moment he made fun of the handicapped guy.
Oh my God.
That should have been it.
Right.
That should have been in the end.
I agree.
The moment the tape, grab him by the pussy, that should have been in the end. It's
never.
No, and it's just, there's such a warped, but you know what it is? It goes back to when we were in college.
Right.
Honestly, the seeds of it go back that far.
Right.
There were so many stupid people running around.
Right.
Who were denied a good education.
Right.
Who were indoctrinated into being unthinking masses.
Right.
That they've been downgraded. Everybody's stupid
I feel
now.
I feel like the least, the less you put into education. This is why we're like George W.
All
Bush.
of them. It's all been horrible since we were kids. It's like it's steady decline of rewarding the stupid people. And now the kid who sat in the last row and made it so you didn't understand a goddamn thing in Italian class and why you can't speak Italian after 4 years of sitting there with Mr. DeSopo not learning nothing is now the president of the United States.
Exactly. But also, we went to public schools. There was art. There was there was the band, there sports, it was, and now that's all gone. That's all. There's no money for. Fuck you, Betsy DeVos, you fucking cunt.
So
I hate that fucking bitch.
I guess we use all the words on the.
We do. So, the freedom of the press, and I wanted to also talk about freedom of speech.
Yes,
because
in what sense of the word? Freedom?
Well, here's the deal. I am a total advocate for freedom from anyone, from the Fred Phelps, to Gandhi. I feel like everyone should be able to say whatever the fuck they want. Because you know what? Then we have more information about them. And we can decide this person's a fucking asshole. But now everyone has a platform, where they can, spread lies. Like the fact that the president lies, like that he lies, and he lies to the American people.
He probably lied 300 times in the times you and I have been talking since we started.
Right.
200-300 times.
And yet it's like, and they can't even say the word lie.
I know. And also it's like, I feel like there's an entire great mass of people who have no bullshit detector.
Right.
That's what we used to, as a journalist, that's what your great skill as a journalist. It's not really how good you write.
Right.
It's nice if you're a good wordsmith.
Right.
But honestly, do you have a bullshit detector?
Right.
And you listen to something going, that doesn't make any sense.
Right,
That's stupid.
Like, I can't believe people don't realize how fucking. So, as far as do you have any parameters when it comes to freedom of speech? Not for you.
No,
but
for other people. I think if you're I think if it's not funny,
right? That's
a
number
huge
one
thing. I mean, I think if Kevin Hart's jokes had been funnier, I'd have given him a pass.
I said that I did it on CNN. I said, listen, because first my initial thing was, I love Kevin. I know him. He's a great guy, and he apologized. Yeah. And then I took this. I felt like this Ellen thing.
Oh, I was so mad at her for that.
Because it was like, Ellen, here's a moment where you could say, do you understand why people are still upset about that? Because first of all, it wasn't funny. It was not funny. It's not a funny joke.
Advocating violence against your gay kid. It's like, where's the joke? Come back when the joke is done.
When there's a joke. But here was a teachable moment where he could say, instead of saying, I already apologized, I'm done, he could have said, I really, as I've gotten older, I've really realized that I have such an impact on people and that was a wrong message. Like,
or said, God, I said some horrible things.
I know. Just say, it's like, you apologized already? It's like, okay, I understand, but it was not funny. Like,
no, it was the kind of apology where someone says, I'm sorry you were offended.
Right.
It's like, that's so now it's my fault.
I mean, he had apologized, and I love him. I think he's such a great guy.
He really didn't handle this well.
But who is she? The queen of?
She's not my queen. My queen is dead. It's Liberace. No, it really was, somebody called her the gay pope in something I read. And I was like, she's not the gay pope.
Right.
You don't get to absolve people of their sins because you've decided it's okay.
Right.
And then I love where they're like, well, there's so soon before the Oscars. How are we going to find someone? There are 10,000
oh my God,
people
are you fucking kidding
who
me?
want that job, and 8,000 of them would do a halfway decent job.
Right.
And 200 would do a rocking job, and about 50 would knock it out of the park.
Right.
So don't act like, that's a hard gig to fill.
Right.
There's a lot of people, even people who are already mega talented and successful, not even opening it up to other people. But it's like, there are a lot of people who could handle that job who would be happy to take it.
Yeah. But I do believe, I always get questions about Louis. I'm like, he's a comic. He has a right to get on stage where he can go on stage. It's like telling a painter they can't paint. But I don't know if you read that thing in the Times that the psychologist wrote about pleading to him to, deal with his issues. But, again, I don't think the Parkland joke was funny at all.
No. But I don't think he gets to make surprise appearances.
Right.
It's sort of like, dude, you're known for springing your schwants on people.
Right.
It's like, how about you tell people I'm appearing at blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And they come if they want to.
Right.
I don't think you get to be the unannounced guest if you're known
that's a good point. I never thought about that.
If you're known for your surprise tactics, you might want to not just show
and
up.
then you have your audience who's wants to listen to you.
And he says, when he talks about aging and stuff,
he's fucking hilarious.
He's hilarious. Yeah. But it's like, but you also, I think sometimes comedians love to self-destruct.
Right.
They really do. They cannot think of enough ways to shoot themselves in the foot.
The thing is, though, he's beyond brilliant, but he's someone who's talked about the rawest, most honest. And here's the elephant in the room, and he's not talking about it. I mean, I'm sure he's working on talking about it, but, you can't just go, okay, hey, I'm going to just do these jokes that I'm working on, because he's known for this brutal honesty. So
if I were going to interview him, I'd want him to masturbate for me. I really would. It's like, I would like that.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I'd be like, would you do this?
I can't with the red pubes.
Oh, I know. I like red pubes.
Ew!
I do. I like a good fire crotch.
No
myself.
way.
No, I do.
Speaking of red pubes,
Yes.
have you and Jim? I often ask that make sure that
I
you
text
blow.
you every time we
have a
do a
blowjob.
biggie.
Oh, okay.
I not so when it's a little
Yeah, all right,
little
okay,
thing. I don't.
good. I
But when
just-
it's really a biggie,
You
I
need
do.
intimacy.
I do. We have a lot of. It's very romantic.
Yeah,
It's
that's good.
It's not on fire, but
Right.
that's more my doing. And the more especially if I see myself in a mirror, even though I've lost 105.
Right now, how did you do? You lost a lot of weight.
I lost a lot of weight, but I gained a little bit back. So
It's all right.
I was going to say I gained weight over the holidays, and by the holidays I mean this Christmas and last Christmas. Okay, so it's a
Yeah.
problem. But I've not too bad, but I'm watching again.
Right.
But I went. Lisa Lampanelli called me to her house.
Yeah.
And she said, "Oh, I got a great idea for a sitcom for the
Right.
two of us." So I would drive up to Connecticut.
Right.
And I drive there, and she basically says that I could hear the door lock.
Right.
Like it was like a Ida Lupino women's
Right.
prison movie.
Right.
And she said, basically, you've got to get your weight under control. I was 317 pounds.
Right.
You got to get your weight under control, and you're not going to die on my watch. I think of you as family now.
Right.
And blah blah blah. And so she downloaded an app to my phone, and said, you have got to eat consciously now. And she said, and if you don't lose 30 pounds in the next 2.5 months, you have to go see my bariatric surgeon for a
Right.
consultation. And I was terrified. I didn't want to get my stomach
Right.
cut out. So I went on a diet and I lost the weight, and then I started losing, and you start losing a little bit and then a little more and a little
Right.
more. And I did. And so I started exercising.
Right.
And it was fun. I went to the doctor, and this is before, okay, I've kind of fallen off the wagon this fall.
Right.
Back on now. But I hadn't been exercising very much.
Right.
And I used to exercise like 4 or 5
Yeah.
days a week, and now it's been like twice a month.
Right.
So it's not good. But when I get back to LA on Wednesday, I'll be glad. So and we'll be back to regular. But so I just did that, but I got to the point where someone who could not finish the stress test 4 years ago, I was getting to a point where I was running what is it? I was on level 5 on whatever
That's
the thing
awesome.
is. So what is it, like a 10-minute mile?
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
11-minute mile, something like
6
that.
is a 10-minute mile.
Something like that.
Yeah,
Whatever
yeah.
I was, that's what I was doing.
That's good.
So 6. I got to 6
Yes.
because it was. But then
Right.
and then it was. I went into rehearsal and I started
Right.
eating things. That was good. And
Right.
then I was nervous about something else, and then I ate that. So yeah, I went back to eating my feelings, which is the worst thing. And
Right.
now I'm back on the wagon, which is good. But you gotta,
I want that app name.
it's called Lose It. But there are a lot of them. But Lose It
Okay.
was the one I used. It's
So-
good. And they pretty much anything. The sushi burrito I had at lunch.
There?
At High
How was
Street.
it?
It's good. I get them all the time. But it's like that actual burrito is in the app. It's like,
Really?
it's High Street, slamming tuna, whatever. Yeah. So
No way.
slamming tuna.
Okay, I'm going to do it. It's called Lose It?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
All
it's
right.
fun. And it's good and then when people ask you to do athletic things, like
You can
who
do
wants
it.
to go? No, but it's like it's not being picked last for gym for the first
Right,
time
right, I
ever.
know, right.
Oh boy.
I I work out like a maniac and I cannot lose weight. I think A, menopause, B, antidepressants. So
Antidepressants are hard.
yeah. Now, I ask all my guests this, have you ever been or do you take antidepressants?
I did and I don't.
Okay, what were you on?
I was on Prozac for a while, and then something else that wasn't Lexapro, but it was sort of had a name.
Celexa?
Maybe
Okay.
something. Anyway, it didn't.
I've been on every fucking
Okay,
thing.
I
Yeah.
tried them all, and I decided one day, without any help from a psychologist, that I was like, I have to get off these. It's like I have to.
Oh
see
God!
what I'm-
Then you
I was like,
fucking
I have
go
to see
lose
what
your
I'm really
mind.
like.
Yeah.
And so I've been doing that.
Wait, you did it slowly?
Yeah, whatever I was. I did ask them how to do it, but yeah, I
Right,
did.
right.
But then I stopped, and I told them, I said, I got to see who I am, and then I started with a new therapist, and I haven't been on them in about 6 years.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No.
I take so many pills. I gotta stop.
Mine is anxiety more than
Yeah,
anything.
I have terrible anxiety, and then I have depression too.
I'm
And then
not
I found
kinda
out.
depressed.
I found out this past weekend that my grandmother had. I definitely have SAD, which I used to make so much fun of it. That seasonal
Yeah,
disorder,
affectiveness,
yeah,
affect disorder,
Yeah.
something, whatever. It means you didn't get enough sun. So
right. I definitely have that.
Yeah,
Like,
that's why living in LA is
I know.
fun because it's
You don't have
no
SAD.
I have no color now, and I don't lie out in the sun.
But it's also it's so gloomy here. It's like fucking the weather sucks.
it's hard. It is hard here.
I definitely
it really
have
is.
SAD.
It is so
I
much
have
easier
SAD.
in LA to do
Yeah.
anything.
This week's episode of It's Judy Show with Judy Gold is sponsored by BetterHelp. And if you know me, which I think you do because you're listening to my podcast right now, you know that I am a big advocate for therapy. I think it benefits everyone. I think there's so many people who need it, who don't partake. It is so important for your emotional health and well-being. Therapy is fantastic. It is in every stretch of the imagination. And if you're thinking of starting therapy, please do it. But please give BetterHelp a try. It is entirely online. It's designed to be convenient. It's flexible. It suits your schedule. You fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. I have switched therapists in my life. I've had many, many therapists, and you know, sometimes it's not a great fit for you, but don't give up. Therapy is beneficial. You can learn about yourself, you can process, and just be emotionally healthy. I'm telling you, do it. BetterHelp is great because, you know, when I used to schlep to my therapist's office, it was so annoying. You have to do it, and you sit there and you wait, and then I'm telling you, doing it online is fantastic. And BetterHelp is amazing. I know a lot of people who've used it. So if you're thinking about therapy, go to BetterHelp.com. Let the gratitude flow. This is Gratitude Month, people. So you need to let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/JudyGold, JudyGold, today, and you will get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/JudyGold. You're welcome.
Your house that you live in, that was
Yes.
the house you grew up in. Is it weird walking through there? Like, do you sleep in your parents' bedroom?
Yeah, the master bedroom, my parents' bedroom. Well, my parents' bedroom was the guest room and the master bedroom.
Oh, they didn't sleep together, ladies and gentlemen.
Not from when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But, my dad got to sleep. He came home from the hospital. He had a heart attack. My mother said, do you sleep down the hall? No,
wow.
that's it.
Nice.
Hello. So anyway, so we're in the master bedroom. And then my childhood bedroom is the Batman room. So
Right.
it's Batman head to toe, for floor to
Right.
ceiling, head to toe, radio. Anyway, and then there's a nice little guest room and stuff. So we have people over and stuff.
But
so
do
my
you
friend
spend a
might
lot
have
of time there?
52 days in a
Is
row.
it weird? Like, do your neighbors, what's the neighborhood like?
The neighborhood is a lot of people who really have put down roots. The older people have died off.
Right.
But the people who've been there have now been there like 15 or 20 years.
Right.
And they're the new people, so
Right.
it's kind of fun. What's hilarious, though, is that directly across the street, my front porch faces their back porch, to a woman who is a very high-powered agent.
No way.
Okay. Now, she mostly lives in the city, but she's there all the time because her sister lives there full time.
Right.
So in this silly little town, we're going, are you going to the HBO Golden Globes party?
Oh, my
I'm
God,
not going to be
that's
back in time. Are you
Right.
going to? Yeah, I think I'll go. So she has all these major clients, and it's hilarious. But so we yell like Hollywood gossip across the street in my silly
That's
little
fucking
hometown.
unbelievable. But you don't feel weird in the house, like in your
Well,
parents' bed?
people say to me, they say, why don't you just sell that house and
Right.
really move to LA? And I said, I can't as long as my parents are there. And and there's
the ghost of your
they're
parents.
kind of there in the dog,
Right.
too. The first dog too. It's very. I say hello to them whenever I walk in because we were getting. There were moments of
like ghosting. No way.
Not ghosting. Like I can't call you
Right,
back
right,
when I
no, but
wanna
ghosts. Yeah,
the
yeah.
agent doesn't call. No, there was a moment on the first anniversary of my father's death where we got locked in the garage.
No way.
And then we finally figure out how to open. We didn't even know that door could lock.
Right.
And so we finally get in the house, and it's boiling. And somebody, quote unquote, had turned it up to as high as the furnace could
No
go.
way.
And my father was always cold.
Right.
And so I was like, you are prank. So I ended up I was still doing the radio show, and I said to someone about a psychic. And then they said, oh, if you want that shit to stop, just acknowledge that they're there and go, okay, I get it. It's like,
Right.
So I do. And so you just tell them.
And it stopped?
Yeah, it kind of did.
Wow.
I do. If you get the psychic, apparently they just want to know you're there. They're like living people. They just want to know you.
Can you
exist.
call me?
Yeah.
Call me.
So it's pretty funny.
I haven't heard from you, Frank.
But there are moments, where you just are like,
wow.
I don't.
Do you ever
I'm not religious, but I do think there's a what does my religious aunt say? There's a thin veil between the worlds. And I do kind of think that's true.
Do you feel like? Do you ever have memory like you're laying in bed going, "Oh my God," and have like vivid memories of your?
Oh, yeah. Oh my God, yes. Oh, please. For you, when I wrote my first book, it's people like, how did you remember such detail? I said, the house looks exactly the same.
Right.
It's, so, but now it's very different. But yeah, I do. But I come across things. I found
I would cry, I think.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
I get very weepy now.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, go off the antidepressants and all that stuff. You cry to
I cry all the time now, yeah. But I'm still on them.
Aged. Maybe I have, what do they call it? Menopause. Maybe it's the same
Oh, yeah.
thing.
Okay, is your vagina dry?
Mostly. My urges have dried up. Yeah, it's true. Well, it's not terrible.
Yeah, it's
most guys. I love when guys go, I take testosterone. It's like, oh, you're disgusting.
You're an asshole.
It's like, oh,
it's what I don't understand is if you can't get it up and you need like Viagra, like then just
get a hobby.
Yeah,
get a hobby.
Like
Read
you're
a book.
done. You're done.
Move on to the next phase.
You can't get it up. Like it's fucking. All right.
It's really maybe your days of riding a pogo stick are over.
Done. It's over.
You're done. I love when I saw this thing online and it said, "Can you be sexy after 50?" And I just wrote back, "No." And there's part of me that agrees with that and part of me that doesn't, but there's more of me that agrees with it. It's like, why? It's, once
like
in a while in a hotel,
of,
you make nice and you're like, look what we, it's sure. It's like living in sure. Oh, sure, look what we did. That's the way you feel. Right. But it can't be that all the time. And people who that's what they have in common, I feel sad.
Yeah. I agree.
It's sort of like get a hobby, get a life, get a dog.
Now,
get something.
The last question I ask, I guess, is because the name of the podcast is Kill Me Now, and everything pisses me off, as you know.
Yes.
What pisses you off more than anything? Like, I want to know what makes you you want to fucking bash a hole in the wall. And it could be anything. It could be, people looking down at their phones while they're walking down the street. It could be like incompetence, tip jars. Like, it could be anything. But like, what makes you fucking crazy?
People who don't care that they're bad spellers.
Oh, that's a good one.
Or that they don't care. They're like people who are, it's not that wrong the way I wrote it. It's like, the fact that my husband, when I watch my husband proofread, I could eat him alive. It turns me on so much. When he'll go, get a load of how stupid, they think it's in Spain, but it's in Portugal. Look at how stupid this is.
Right.
It gets,
that would turn me on.
That turns me on. Smart turns
grammar.
me on. Grammar and spelling. And I love a lot of smart people can't spell. And I always say, the word, there's another name for people who are bad spellers. And they're like, what? Stupid. Right. That's what it is. Stupid.
Right. Or look it up. Like,
look it up.
Here's the thing. Like, you're gonna have bad grammar and bad spelling, and they check. It's spell check. It's not even like you have to go to look in a dictionary.
I write all the time. I studied it, the whole thing.
Right.
Today I was writing something and I couldn't remember how to spell couture.
I do that. That happens to me all the time.
I was just like,
that doesn't look right.
Coutour.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
Right.
So you look it up.
Right.
It's like you don't just let it go. Oh, it's not that wrong. It's wrong.
I tweeted something.
If you get it wrong.
I tweeted something last night and it was so grammatically incorrect, and I was like, oh fuck. So then I wrote, let me rephrase that, because I can't. I want to say it correctly.
I posted on Facebook and I said, on a stairwell. And then the next day I looked and I said, it's in a stairwell.
Right.
Not on a stairwell. It's on a staircase and in a stairwell. So I went back and fixed it. It's like I proofread my own Facebook posts.
Well, Trump is a really good speller.
Oh, he's the best.
Yeah.
He's the best at everything.
I know. He really is. He knows more about spelling than anyone.
He is. He should not be called president. He should be called king of douchebaggy.
I fucking hate that motherfucker so much.
I've never hated him more.
I can't. And Pence and fucking Kellyanne Cuntway. Those two are not fucking. Her and her fucking husband. Because George Conway. No, but George Conway hates Trump.
And Pence is like...
He is such a homo.
A bomb, too.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's probably a fisting bomb.
And you know who else is a homo?
Who?
Lindsey Graham.
Oh, definitely. Oh, that's he's also the one. You know the chicken who has the hots for Foghorn Leghorn.
Yeah,
that's him. Ooh, Granny Goose or whatever she is. Yeah. That's and
him. They all keep that secret.
Ugh, he's just the worst. And you just read it's no bullshit detector. That's the thing. You just read these quotes. I was reading some story of Lindsey Graham said something. The goal is not to keep not to open the government. It's like you're never getting the wall. Okay?
Right.
I don't care if it takes me 10 hours to get through the airport.
Right.
You're not getting.
But
the
it's
wall.
also I heard some guy crying like he can't feed his kids. And he can't, he has no money. And this motherfucker, his cabinet gets a $10,000 rate. Like, this is fucking like ridiculous. Like, how are you not completely fucking pissed off about it?
Because I just worry about spelling. It's just easier. It does. But I don't want. When Bush the son was whatever W whatever.
W. Yeah.
There was that feeling of, oh God, I'm smarter than the president.
Yeah.
Now it's sort of like, my dog is smarter than the president.
I know.
Like, this is stupid.
Horrible. Frank, I love you.
I love you.
I can't
too,
thank you enough for doing this. Now,
it was fun.
Where can people find you? I mean, I feel like you use Instagram too much.
I do. You're 20. Shut up. No, it's at Frank DeCaro Show. It's DeCaro. So at Frank DeCaro Show.
Right.
Pretty much on all social media.
Right.
And Twitter, they don't seem to like me anymore because I wasn't posting for a while, and now no one sees anything.
Oh, I tweet more than I Instagram.
No,
I guess that's bad.
I Instagram and I Facebook and I have a fan page, but it's all.
I'm done with.
I
I really kind of hate Facebook now, but yeah.
But Instagram still makes me happy because I like to take pictures of.
I hate pictures. I like words.
I'm very visual.
Yeah, I'm not.
oriented.
I'm more. Yeah.
But I'm really excited. I'm going to be doing appearances and things, not only with Lisa Lampanelli, but also for this book.
Yeah. Now, what's the name of the book?
Drag: Combing Through the Bigwigs of Show Business.
Awesome.
And it's from Rizzoli, coming at the end of April. And it really was a labor of love, and it's really fun. But it's as much about Bianca Del Rio,
right?
Or excuse me, it's as much about Flip Wilson as Geraldine as it is about Bianca Del Rio.
Right.
It's Lady Bunny. That's
awesome. Lady Bunny was a guest.
Oh, she's the best. She's
the
smart.
best. So fucking smart. I know.
But no, it's. I wanted to shed light on performers who maybe weren't on Drag Race,
right,
and the ones who were,
right.
But also kind of draw the through line from the early days of drag queenery. I mean, certainly cross-dressing for the theater is hundreds and hundreds of years, but there was like a guy who had a Broadway theater named after him in 1912. His name was Julian Eltinge. It's now the multiplex on 42nd Street.
No way.
Yeah, the one closest to the Port Authority there.
Is he?
I believe so. Dirty queer, I think.
Right.
But he didn't admit it. He said he defended. A lot of them defended their masculinity, which makes me scream.
Yeah.
But no, he was fun. So Julian Eltinge had a theater, 1912.
Wow.
So he's kind of the one that they think of.
And did you go to P-Town and do any research there?
I did. I interviewed. David Drake.
Oh, of course.
Okay, I loved it. Wonderful actor.
He's running the Provincetown Theater.
Theater. But he did a character named Tawny Heatherton.
Uh-huh.
And so I included him as I did each in a lot of the cities or in towns. I picked one person, and so I picked him from there because he lives there.
Right.
But also he has such an interesting history. So even if Tawny doesn't perform that often, I thought he was the right guy because he was like in the original cast of Pageant.
Wow.
He played in Vampire Lesbians longer than Charles Busch, who wrote it.
Right.
He's done drag on everything from Law and Order to Vinyl.
Right,
I think he was on. So he had this great story. So he was really fun. And then the other folks that perform there every summer, I did from their home bases. So Varla's in there, and
that's Jimmy James,
Ryan Landry, and Jimmy James, and but there's tributes to Divine and Sylvester, and the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, and the Kinsey Six, and the Boulay brothers, who were
I mean, the only drag I knew growing up was on MASH.
He's in there. I've got a great picture of him. He's in like a prom dress with a chest hairier than mine.
Right.
Jamie Farr.
Yeah.
And the best thing is I have a picture of Fred Gwynne as Herman Munster in drag.
No way.
And not the one from the TV movie.
Right.
The one from the series.
I was in the TV movie.
He was hit. Were you really?
Yeah, I played his sister.
Get out.
Yeah.
Which TV movie was that? Who played Frankenstein? Who played Herman?
Ed Herman.
Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, I have it at home. I'll go watch it.
Yeah.
I can't believe you got to do that.
Yeah.
What did you look like? Did you look like
I looked like him. Like I was dressed as a female him. And they made a big thing of my face, and I'm dead.
You have a life mask of you?
Yeah, I did, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I would look at it like, "Oh my god, that's what I'm going to look like when I'm dead."
Didn't go. You saved that, didn't you?
No, I have nothing. I've had to declutter.
I hope I'm dead before I declutter.
Yeah, it's hard.
I hope when they declutter, I'm one of the clutter items they throw away. I do.
Frank, you are the best.
Oh, you are.
Thank you. Thank you. So everyone, look for Frank. He's amazing.
Buy that book.
Buy his new book. Buy his other 4 books, except for a boy named Phyllis, because I can't fucking find it anymore.
Let's get it back in print.
Okay.
Let's demand it.
You're the best. And thank you so much for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, the amazing Frank DeCaro. Thank you for listening to Kill Me Now. And I will be back next week. I love you. I love you. So long!
And everything was wonderful. I'll see you soon. Thank you for the visit. So long.
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. At Mint Mobile, we like to do the opposite of what Big Wireless does. They charge you a lot, we charge you a little. So naturally, when they announced they'd be raising their prices due to inflation, we decided to deflate our prices due to not hating you. That's right. We're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.